Hello everybody, this is Julissa. Thank you so much everybody for coming back to my channel. Thank you so much everybody who's listening right now in the podcast. It is Friday, November 22nd, 2024. I wanted to come here and speak about the situation that happened. And I think it's something that happens more often than we like to admit, that we know of stuff like this happening. When we go to the doctors, when we get sick or one of our loved ones is sick, the last thing is for us to expect that this doctor is gonna do something evil, right? And like I told you before, you guys, in one of my previous episodes, most recent episode, I think I remember telling you guys that you do have to sometimes get a second opinion. At the end of the day, a medical practice, a doctor, they're also a business, so that's just the reality. But today I'm gonna talk to you guys about this doctor that was just sentenced to 190 years in prison for tampering with IV bags, okay, and killing a couple people, right? And you think about that and you wonder, why would anybody do something like this, right? And people think that they're not being watched, that nobody's gonna say anything. God is going to expose all of that. Whatever you do in the dark will come to light. And a case like this is another example that people have no fear of the Lord, okay? But before I continue, I want to say thank you to everybody who is listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and iHeartRadio. And of course, to the new audience coming in from Pandora. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And always, please like the podcast, the episode, and also please leave a comment. Thank you so much, of course, everybody who is watching this video on YouTube and has been subscribing. Really means a lot to me, you guys. Thank you. But like I said, this is a very sad story. This was caught on camera too. There's a video out there of this doctor in a medical practice tampering with IV bags to hurt people. That tells you guys there's a lot of people who go to school to, a lot of people choose career based on the status that it will give them, right? And then this is how you know that they're in it just for the money. It's like the nurse that people are like, oh my goodness, she's such a good person. She's a nurse, but then she treats patients horrible. She has no bedside manners. That's what they call it. She's rough with people. She tells them mean things, The last thing you want when you get sick and you finally decide, I guess you can say, to go to the doctor is for somebody to hammer you down and say negative comments to you, right? You just expect them to do their job and have compassion. I think doctors and nurses, they need to have compassion. I met many great doctors. I'm not saying everybody's like that. Amazing nurses. But there is, you can really tell who's in it for the money and who's not. Who's in it just to, to look good to the world, right? Who wants the applause of men and who wants to live this fake life, because people will be like, what do you mean she's rude? She's a nurse, what are you talking about? Or people can be like, well, he's a doctor, so he's a good person. People do evil things. Okay, that's why you have to go beyond the mask. Everybody's walking around with a mask. Now, when I say everybody, you guys know what I mean, but there's more to, there's more to people's story. You have to get to know people before you assume. A lot of people see somebody volunteering or see somebody like helping the poor. There's people that will never help the poor unless there's like a camera around, unless they can tell everybody that they did something. It's like, oh my goodness, really? Are we supposed to roll the red carpet now because you did something great for somebody? And that's all in the Bible. God doesn't want us to be like that, okay? But let me just read to you guys this article briefly. It says here, Dallas doctor sentenced to 190 years in prison for tampering with IV bags. A Dallas anesthesiologist who was convicted of tampering with IV bags has been sentenced this past Wednesday to 90 years in prison. In April this year, Reinaldo Ortiz was found guilty of, tampering with the bags. There's a whole video about it. He was injecting them with bupivacaine, an anesthetic drug. Jurors said they were left with no doubt of his guilt and convicted Ortiz on all 10 counts against him. Sentencing was set to on July 22nd, then was pushed back to September 16 and then again to September 18. A total, listen to this, you guys, a total of 10 patients were rushed to nearby emergency rooms after problems during the procedure. Additionally, Dr. Melanie Casper died after bringing a tainted IV back home to treat her dehydration. Ortiz was only charged in 4 of the cases, but all of the alleged incidents were included in the judge's sentencing decision. Ortiz was not in the courtroom, having waived his right to sit in Wednesday's sentencing. He chose to sit in another room in the courthouse, out of sight of the victims and family. Another example of the works of the enemy, right? Like, we all know the majority of people in the medical field, they do have a good salary. I mean, it's like you have a good salary, you help people, and you look at, compared to every other career, I guess you can say, as somebody of great honor, right? Because people, when you're sick, you go to the doctor and they tell you do this, the other to feel better. People basically respect your treatment plan, your advice, and a lot, they follow it and they admire you, especially if they get better after following your advice. They basically put you in a pedestal with all the credit in the world, obviously. But I'm saying that was not enough for this guy. He had to do more damage. And this is another example, guys, that people in authority, they like to, a lot of people do things because they can get away with it, okay? They see how things operate in offices, in business settings, I guess you can say, and they say, hey, if I'm not getting caught, why not, right? And there is like this evil things. A lot of people have hidden sins. Nobody's gonna walk around telling you all the evil things that they think about, that they wish they could see, or things like that. There's a lot of hidden sins, okay? And the enemy is all behind all of that, right? Like I told you guys many times, you have to be careful what you're watching on TV. Sometimes even watching like an action movie or drama movie can really get in your head, and you think, oh no, I'm strong enough for that, but it can really get in your head. You have to be so careful, because it starts in the mind, okay? And even reading a lot of this deity stuff, you have to be careful. You don't need to read every details, right? As much as you think, like I said, that you're strong enough to like read through to the victim statements and all of that stuff, you just have to be careful what you're reading, what you're like, because the minute you read something, you start imagining in your head, right? So it's so sad that this man, okay, his name was Ortiz. Is it Ortiz? Basically ruined his whole life. He ruined the lives of many people, and now he's gonna sit in jail for the rest of his life, right? And like, really, what was, like, you're tainting IV bags. What is your end game here? What do you get out of that? And I think a lot of the times, people do things because, like I said, they can get away with it. It's almost like, when people say, not to compare the two, but a lot of the times we, as humans, we do things, that sometimes they don't make sense, obviously. But I think this is more egotistic, obviously, plan of this guy. It's almost like, I was trying to compare it, like, sometimes when you see free things, even though you don't need it, you're like, you have to take it because it's free, right? It's so sad that he couldn't just do his job, okay? He had to go and make everything evil. And that's how you know this man was under demonic influence, because that's what the enemy does. Steal, kill, and destroy. This man life was, destroyed. Okay, he steal the IV bags, replace them. He destroys people's life. He killed a couple people too. And I'm just so happy that he got caught, because a lot of these people, it's almost like he reminded me of this guy Ariel Ortiz. I think they probably had the same last name, and probably not related at all, but I think it was Ortiz, the guy in Cleveland who hit the three young ladies for 10 years in his house. Just because he could do it, because he could get away with it, he thought, right? And people like this, they think that one day they're not gonna be in front of God. That's what I mean. When I see cases like this, I think about how much people have lost the fear of the Lord. Okay, God sees everything. How you gonna do that? Like you're like, they probably thought, I'm a doctor. I can open every fridge right here in this office. Nobody's gonna question me. No MA, no nurse is gonna be like, hey doctor, what are you doing? They're gonna be, that's the boss. Nobody's gonna say anything to him, right? And this is probably another eye-opening for people in the medical field, that maybe they should be questioning doctors, right? A lot of the times, growing up, we do put, nothing. Like I said, I met so many great doctors, and I know so many of them. My mom was in the medical field too, and there are people who do a great job, right? You could see that they really love what they're doing, and they're in the best career, and they really have compassion for patients. And then you see other side of doctors, and that's something that, everybody does what the doctor said, right? How can you not, right? You feeling bad, you feeling sick, they're giving you medical advice. How can you not, right? You have to remember, like I told you in the beginning, this is also a business. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. A patient was able to testify. She was crying during the trial, saying how she was poisoned by Dr. Ortiz. Like, this man is seen on camera switching IV bags, tainting them, and putting them back on so people can go and grab it when they need it for whatever patient it is that it needs, right? And how fake is your life? Like, I cannot understand it. How fake is your life that you go home and you feel good that you did something crazy like that, and then you're just gonna wait for the office gossip and be like, oh, that patient that came in yesterday, he got so bad, now he was sent to the emergency room, and he's actually worse than when he came in. And people are like, I wonder what happened. You're just sitting there like, I wonder what happened. That's so bad. Some people might say, because they're mackers, right? The mackery. They'll be like, yeah, we have to pray for this kid or something. And you're the one responsible for all of that. That's like a whole depth of evilness in the humankind. Like, that's crazy. And that shows you people have no fear of the Lord. It's so sad, I'm just, I'm glad that he got caught. I am glad that he's in jail. He's going to be in there for a long time. I really hope that he comes to the feet of the Lord and asks for forgiveness. It's just like, people were talking on the chat. People were like, what was the point of all of this? Like, he did it because he could get away with it. And he could have been, we can go and speculate many times. People can speculate many times. I wonder how he was found out. Because like I said, there is a video. It says here, from May to August in 2022, several patients at Baylor Scott and White Surgical Care in North Dallas experienced cardiac emergencies, I can pronounce that, during routine procedure. And one of his colleagues actually died. The doctor began to suspect an issue with the IV bags in August of 2022 after an 18-year-old patient condition became critical during a routine sinus operation. That's why, you guys, I told you many times, and like I'm not gonna get tired of saying this. If you have a loved one in a nursing home, check on your people. Okay, if you cannot be there, the nursing home is far away from where you live, see if you can hire a trusted person who can go there maybe 3 times a week or for dinner time or whatever, and give you feedback. Okay, you can pay them. Anybody who can volunteer or something to help you out like that, you have to check. You have to do your research too. And like one thing that I don't like, I remember one thing that I don't like, my mom went through the whole nursing home thing, and I will ask a million questions, sometimes on purpose, right? And you could tell, sometimes they will tell you things to be dismissive with you. And, I can pick on that so quickly. I'm like, don't be trying to rush me off, because I hate that, especially when I'm speaking in regards to my mother and her health, okay? So, I wouldn't say that, but once I noticed that there was a type of dismissiveness, I will come up with more and more questions then. You have to remember that when you are, we believe, I think, this society has always said, always follow what the doctor said, you have to do exactly what they say, this and the other. It's okay to also get a second opinion, right? I know I'm getting a little away from the topic, but like people say, I don't know who needs to hear this. I think that it's okay to ask questions. And if you bring somebody with you who's always saying, oh, don't ask that, don't it's always that person who's so embarrassed to ask questions, who always also wants to like tell you not to ask questions. You're like, we're not asking what's in the sandwich. We're not asking like, how much are these pair of jeans. We're asking about medications. We're asking about treatment plans. It's okay to ask. And don't let anybody shut you down, okay? Especially when it comes to like your health and your loved one's health, it's okay to ask. And if they say to you, because sometimes they don't know all the answers, and they can be like, let me get back to you on that. Make sure you follow through and be like, remember you were gonna check on me for something? Make sure you do that. And that's it, you guys. You have to remember there are a lot of people right now, especially right now, I say that in this economy, that are taking on jobs just because of the need of financial need, right? And you have to just, you pray about every time you go to a medical office or whatever, right? Make sure you pray about it. Make sure that God, you can ask God for wisdom. Make sure, God, that I'm making the right decision here, that I'm asking the right questions, that, give me a good doctor, put a good doctor in my way. And you could see, right? You could see when you could really tell a lot of the times when you have a good doctor, right? Because they want to listen to you, right? And they care about you, and they have compassion. You could see it like that, right? And one other thing that you have to know, no good doctor will ever like comment regarding another patient with you, because that's actually like illegal to do anyway. So that's how you know, right? One way to know. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel. Let me know what you guys think about this doctor who did this. Do you know, like, what comes to your mind when you hear about somebody doing this, right? Tainting IV bags to hurt people. Like, why would anybody do that? Other than we know that he was influenced by the demonic presence. What satisfaction would you get? Right? Like, that is your life. You know how when you die, you have to give count of your life to the Lord? It's like that's what you're gonna come and say to your Father in heaven. Like that's what you're gonna say on Judgment Day. That's what you did with your life, tainting IV bags to kill people. Like really, people have lost the fear of the Lord. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming back to my channel. Have a good day. God bless.